American workers hear the argument all the time that if we had more benefits, if we had more time off, etc., that companies would just leave and go overseas and we would lose all the labor. And that's a fair concern after globalization and losing a lot of manufacturing jobs. But the irony is those companies are already overseas. In one of my lives in my school community where I do a weekly live call, somebody was on the call from Germany, and he was talking about all these other labor rights they have and how he doesn't have a lot of the issues that pop up that we were discussing in the live about the unwritten rules of work. And we were talking about documenting workplace abuse and such. And he was like, yeah, we just have so many more rights there that when a lot of Americans come over, they're upset to find that the same companies they work for do operate in Germany and provide more benefits than they do to their American workers. And I was like, oh yeah, 100%. I've been that American. A couple of years ago, I was in Portugal and I met several Germans, and one of them worked at a firm that I had worked at and had completely different benefits than I did. Way more time off. Sick leave wasn't even a thing because you just don't go if you're sick, etc. And now I'm sure I made a higher salary. Granted, I also have a much higher cost of living and additional health insurance costs. So it was interesting because that side of the conversation gets left out. I'm like, oh no, they'll go overseas if we demand benefits. And it's like, if it wasn't profitable for these countries to be in Europe, they wouldn't be. There's profit, and then there's exploitation. And also, in exploitation, you end up paying for costs over time of things like absenteeism because people can't work because they're sick, right? And having to replace someone when they burn out and leave, or if God forbid something terrible happens to their health, etc. So, yeah. And as I talk about all the time, when people hate you, they also do counterproductive work behaviors and productivity decreases. So there are still costs to being an asshole, as I always say.